Thanks for listening to Towards Fellowship for the week of January 28th through February the 3rd, 2018. Towards Fellowship is the Ministry Connection podcast of Fellowship Bible Church here in Mullica Hill, New Jersey. Hi, this is Pastor Scott. Well, we're in week 5 of our Quiet Time Diaries, and as we open our Quiet Times and our Bibles, we find ourselves in 2 Corinthians 1:1 through chapter 4, verse 18. And as you look throughout the children's quiet times for the week, you'll see some themes arising, such as comforting those who need comfort, forgiveness, becoming more like Christ, and sharing the gospel. And the teen quiet time focuses near the end of the week on the reliability of God's word, forgiving others, and also persevering through trials. A reminder that our monthly publication at our church here, Fellowship Together, has a great family devotion section that has questions based on that week's passage from the Quiet Time Diary. So hopefully that can be a tool you can use for your family devotions. So those themes that we just mentioned from the Quiet Time this week are great conversation pieces to be having with our kids throughout the week. You know, I personally find that I have the greatest and the most effective communication with my kids when I just make the quiet time a spontaneous conversation piece and just make it natural. So that can be when you're driving your kids to school, when you're taking them to a sporting event. Just ask them what they're learning from their quiet time. And as our kids are learning from 2 Corinthians this week, we can be talking to our kids about standing for Christ in the midst of difficult situations, which is really what Paul was doing there as he's talking to the Corinthians in his second letter here. So that's our focus from the quiet time this week. Last week in Sunday school, the kids began a 10-week series in the books of 1st and 2nd Samuel, and their focus on Sunday was from 1 Samuel 13, where Saul disobeyed God. And the text that they'll be looking at specifically mentions the fact that Saul disobeyed God because of his fear of the people. So great obvious application there that we can be discussing with our kids and also in our own lives, whether or not it's more important to fear God and obey him or fear people and obey them. So great things we can be discussing. For our 5th and 6th graders in Ignite this week, Steve will be continuing his series on Satan and specifically looking at a Christian's response to evil and how evil is to be repaid with good. In third place, junior high Wednesday night, they'll be in their small group time, which means that the senior high will be in a lesson. And in fact, because this is their 5th Wednesday, they'll be having a worship night. I know the teens are learning lots of great things relating to worship, so ask your kids, ask your teens, some of the things they're learning about worship and how they're applying that to their own lives. In third place Sunday school, they're continuing their series in 1 Corinthians, and they'll be discussing this week head coverings and cultural worship. So I'm sure there'll be some great discussion pieces happening in their Sunday school time, and don't be afraid, parents, to be asking your kids about that. So all throughout our week, let's be engaging our kids, not just in what they're learning at school, but what they're learning in the Word, and talking with them about how they can stay better connected to Christ and His Word, and setting good examples for ourselves by spending our time in the Scriptures. This was the Towards Fellowship podcast for the week of January 28th through February 3rd. Thanks for listening.